Thank you very much, Kim and Christopher, to Jamaica and Greg. They are our very special guests, our very important people, our VIPs. Their personal stories are more eloquent than any of whatever we could say about how important this all is. An earlier speaker once said, all politics is local, but when it comes to health care, all politics is personal, and that's what we are here about today. 7 years ago, the President of the United States, Barack Obama, signed the Affordable Care Act. He signed the bill because he believed, as all of us gathered here do, and I think our crowd out here, let's welcome them. Thank you all for being here. He led the way and signed the bill because he believed that health care for all Americans is a right, not a privilege just for the few. And that is what we believe, and that is what drives us. Today we are gathered to say how proud we are of what was accomplished and contrast it with what is being proposed will be less care for more money. Pay more, get less. Premiums and out-of-pocket costs will go up. Coverage will be reduced. There'll be an age tax on people over 50 years of age. Women will no longer be in the Affordable Care Act, being a woman is no longer a pre-existing medical condition, and that will be overturned. And all of this to give a tax break to the wealthiest people in our country and corporate America, especially the pharmaceutical and the insurance companies. We reject that. We reject that. And so, looking to the leadership of our members of Congress, the courage of members of House and Senate, and I'm so glad that Chuck Schumer was here with us, looking across the country at the support that we have, and I'm so glad that Governor Brown is with us today. Thank you, Governor, for joining us. And then looking to the White House, the leadership of President Barack Obama and the leadership of Joe Biden. I know he's here. Vice President Biden, as we know, is an unsurpassed champion for working families in our country. We all agree. Vice President Biden's towering legacy of leadership is rooted deep in his connection to working people. Others had made reference to his description of the affordable health care the day it was signed, so I won't go there, except I just did. But I want to say that Joe Biden has not only done great things, he is doing great things. And with his moonshot fight against cancer, he is leading the way and giving American people hope, giving American people hope. It is my privilege to present our beloved, esteemed, great former Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Hey, man, how are you? Good to see you guys. I just want to tell Governor Brown, be careful what he whispers to me. I want to be real clear. I want to set the record straight. Number one, thank God my mother wasn't around when that comment was picked up years ago. And secondly, I leaned back. It wasn't the microphone. What happened was one of you guys were able to read lips. I was looking this way. So this press is really talented. And, oh, my goodness. Look, the fact of the matter is you've heard eloquent statements from those who have benefited and will be devastated by the repeal of the Affordable Care Act. You've heard from Governor Brown, who straightforwardly stated exactly what this means. You've heard all of the detail of what the losses will be for ordinary and hard-working American people, middle-class Americans. But you know what? To me, what the Affordable Care Act was all about, I remember sitting in the Oval when we were finally decided this is the final product, and the president kidded me about it, but I said, you know what this does? It means an awful lot of people that I grew up with, an awful lot of families that I know are able to go to bed now and not stare at the ceiling and think, my God, what happens if my wife develops breast cancer or if I end up with a heart attack? I lose everything. I lose everything. What happens if we can't? Our child has diabetes. How are we going to be able to cover that child? What do we do? This bill is about peace of mind. Peace of mind for Americans to finally be able to lie there and know that, God forbid, something happens like it's happened to an awful lot of us, that I'm not going to lose my house. I'm not going to lose everything. I'm not going to leave my family in distress. And you know, when we did the Affordable Care Act, one of the things I said and the President said and others behind me said, we know, just like when Social Security was passed, there'd have to be improvements made. We'd watch it and see what happened. And the improvements are all doable. They're all within our wheelhouse. You don't have to take this act, which has been incredibly beneficial, not only, by the way, to individuals, but total health care cost in America. What has happened, and Doc, you're making the point. Every one of the folks behind me has districts in their state or in their district where the opioid epidemic is real. You got 1.4 million people who are now able to, who are addicted to opioids, being able to get the mental health care as well as the treatment, the drug treatment needed to be able to move them into a position where they can regain control of their lives. Elimination of this, the costs are enormous. The cost to law enforcement, the cost to the community. There are so many hidden costs that will be resurrected here if this was repealed. But you've all been standing here a long time and it's cold. Let me cut to the chase. You know, this is, there's nothing fundamentally changed in the Republican Party in the last 12 to 15 years, except they got a president now who is a little more colorful. That is polite, but it's about time we're polite. But look, folks, here's the deal. When you cut to the chase, we're talking about eliminating close to $1 trillion in benefits that go to people to be able to meet the commitment we made that health care is a right, and we're transferring all of that to the wealthy. That's what this is all about. It's about a transfer tax, basically. Eliminating the Affordable Care Act means eliminating an awful lot of things that people badly need in return for what? So the 0.9% increase in taxes for people making over $250,000, couples, can be returned to them so that drug companies and insurance companies and medical device companies can benefit. It's a transfer of about $1 trillion from those folks out there to everybody in this country. That's what it is. And that's classic Republican politics. This is a tax bill for them. This is all about making sure that hard-working people, and by the way, middle-class people who otherwise seem to be doing all right in their income, except the cost of their health care. And it's saying, okay, pal, what we're going to do is we're going to transfer back close to $1 trillion to people who, in fact, don't need it. They don't need it. The last thing, this is going to mean an additional $57,000 a year in tax breaks for people making $1 million a year. Now, I believe if you lined up all the millionaires in America and said, do you think this is fair? I think they'd say no. I really do. I honest to God believe they'd say no if it means all the bad things that happened before are coming back. I had planned on saying a lot more, but the truth of the matter is Jerry Brown summed it up. Matter of fact, he got me so cranked up I was about to take my tie off. So, and by the way, I think he's the best governor in the United States of America, too. Anyway.
Thank you.
Protect our care. Protect our care. Protect our care. Protect our care.
Protect our care. Protect our care. Protect our care.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President, for helping to pass the bill and for being with us today and continuing the fight to protect our care. Thank you.
I ain't going anywhere. This is not going to pass.
A reminder that the House is expected to begin floor debate on the Republicans' bill that would take the place of the 2010 health care law. That'll start live at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow here on C-SPAN.